How are you, sir? I think we're live. Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, it looks like we are. Let me just pull up my old man screen here. I got to get those glasses we showed, those Lenovo ones. So then
Oh my
I
God,
can
those
just
are
do
awesome.
the show with the glasses on. What's the difference?
Well, it would look a little strange, maybe.
You ever see that gal who founded that person who founded Wicker? I can't remember her name anymore, but she was the one who taught me about iris recognition and how all these iris recognition systems are going everywhere. It's a much more unique than facial rec. Like
Right,
like when you look in the thing when you're coming into a country with your passport and they say, look in there, that's an iris recognition program.
right.
So she would always wear sunglasses on all her podcasts, trying not to, because she believed that was what was next. Don't give up your iris print.
Right.
But we all have already. So,
I was gonna say that ship has fucking sailed.
but as far as when you think about biological proof of identity and things like that, it's something that could have a place in there, but it's also kind of scary.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Market's bouncing a little today, huh? I haven't looked since early this morning.
I looked earlier. I mean, I saw, a little bit up, a little bit down.
1909, 1624.
I
Ethereum's
didn't see
doing better.
much that was worrisome. I mean, ETH was up like 8% when I looked in the morning. I don't know where it is now. 1621, up 5-ish roughly.
Yeah.
24-hour change. But I'll take it.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's all driving toward this merge event and what happens after that, and various people's interpretations as to what that is and their bets, their corresponding bets. So
look at that long to shorts ratio. Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, where is it at now? Something I saw this morning was the other way, like shorts like 8 times over.
73.26.
Shorts?
Longs are 73, shorts are 26.
It flips. All right.
Interesting. I don't know how long that lasts. I never keep a close
Well, until
eye.
like everybody dives in and takes all the long money.
Yeah. Now that's Binance and overall Bitcoin longs. If you look at Kraken, Kraken is completely flipped. BitMEX is completely flipped. While I'm doing it, that's freaking hilarious. I guess this changes frequently. While I'm looking at it, it completely flips. Maybe that was cashed up from yesterday.
Excuse me. Yeah.
That's freaking hilarious. That's hilarious.
I mean, it's the same. The equities markets are all looking a little bit. Well, U.S. is looking up, Europe's looking up. I mean, 1/3%, 0.4, 0.7. Nothing too dramatic. I mean, Nikkei futures, they're the same as they were this morning. I mean, that's showing a little down, but it's recovered a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
So I don't have any complaints there. The British stimulus funding coming out, I think 170 billion or so for energy bills. Sorry.
Evidently the Queen's about to die, by the way. If people weren't aware.
I did see that too. Yeah, she's under observation. So, and everybody's scrambling to get
the BBC is all the announcers are wearing black and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, really? I didn't know it had gone that far. Okay.
Yeah. And evidently because she's dying in Scotland, they have like 2 separate operations. One if she dies in Scotland and one if she dies there. And so it's called Operation Unicorn, which is what's trending on Twitter today. If she dies in Scotland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Does it have any
I guess it's what they do in terms. No, got me, dude. I think it just is like, what do we do with, I saw some things that was like shut down Parliament for 6 days. Just the
protocol stuff. Yeah.
The protocol shit. Yeah. She dies. But if her body's there, blah, blah. I don't know.
No, she's got a good run. How old is she?
94, they said.
Oh, 94. Okay.
That's a hell of a run. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, impressive, that's, it's, I don't know. Not a big royal family thing. So guy.
Yeah. It's not like I hang around watching that shit either.
Yeah, exactly. I did watch that series on Netflix about her, which was actually really good. Yeah.
I like that too.
Really well done. Really well.
Yeah. But you kind of see those stories and you're like, who the hell wants to be that person?
Yeah.
You know, when you saw the stuff where these kids have to go to school, like the I get the names all wrong, but Prince Charles's father, they went to some boarding school up in like Scotland somewhere where they're making them run the laps in the morning, and it's just like this Spartan existence. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, just torturing your kids. And then the dad was like not going to send him there. He sent him, I guess, to Eton instead, which is sort of the, you know, the royal and near royal kind of stomping ground for high school, I guess it is. Not as demanding. No.
Yeah.
But so it's sad. I mean, I always feel like I like somebody sent me some stuff on the Kardashians private equity fund, and you know, I'm not really a big fan of that type of social media, but she's tremendously successful. You can't fault her for it, but at the same time, I'm like,
nothing like launching your career off a sex tape. Yeah.
Isn't that what you did?
Yeah, that's what I did. I'm
but they didn't the Humane Society get on you for that?
I'm hoping, Mike. Oh, you are a pig. I thought you were trying to be more. I thought you were trying to be more respectful for your TradFi buddies.
Hey.
What the hell was that?
Well, no, they'll be laughing at that one.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so.
It's, you know, it's like I'm like you. I sort of channel. I saw somebody in our comments calling you the Howard Stern of podcasting or whatever, and I was like, I'm like, you know, I kind of channel a little bit of. You know, I'm sure people have watched F is for Family on Netflix, but that's Bill Burr plays the title dad character. It's early 70s kind of cartoony sitcom-y stuff. And, you know, so I channel some of that, and, you know, all the comedians, I love watching that stuff. And so, but you know, it's all in fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I felt a little bad for the other parent. We had parents' night last night at my daughter's school. She's so I'm going to do a little dad brag here. So she's in 8th grade, but she's in honors high school algebra in 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And her math teacher, the algebra teacher she's had for 3 years now. And, you know, the teacher's going around the class going, and whose parent are you? And whose parent are you? And she asked my wife, whose parent are you? And she said, Amanda Nickel. And the teacher goes, oh my God, your daughter is brilliant. She is so smart, so smart. I'm looking around the room going, I don't want to be the other parents here, because that's just, you don't do that in front of other people. Like, that's like, just don't do that. Like, what are you going to do now? Go around the rest of the room, go, oh, whose parents are you? Oh, yeah. Sam? Oh, yeah, Sam. Sam, yeah, I know Sam. It's like, anyway, dad.
You know, it is, you know, a little anecdotal story like that is where my daughter went to school at a downtown magnet in Miami at the like for her first 10 years, and she would just be sweeping all the awards like that. Nice. Like every single, you know, never missed a day for 10 years, 4.0, all the awards. So they stopped giving awards in like 6th grade, 5th grade, because all the other, just what you said, the other parents were getting pissed off, and the other kids were like feeling bad because they weren't
they getting the participation trophies?
Yeah, there were a lot of those.
Yeah,
but the kids know what a participation trophy is.
Of course,
versus a real trophy, i.e.,
everybody
winning.
gets this exactly.
But you know, it is true. You don't want to hurt the other kids because you want them to keep trying and to be better. If you're a C student, you want them to be a B student. If they're a B student, you want them to want to be an A student or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
Don't beat the kids down.
Yeah, DefiLlama launched a new page, which is kind of cool. It's volume across all DEXs. And you know, just tracking kind of the 24-hour change alone is actually I think an interesting metric to keep an eye on, right? Like what's coming in and out of DeFi overall. And then you can see each DEX's overall volume in the last 24 hours and their volume changes for the last 24 hours, 7 days, and 1 month. So I think this is really something interesting to keep track of. Also interesting to see what things are kind of moving up. Like I've never touched Solana. I mean, Serum on Solana.
Yeah, looking at
on
that
Solana. Yeah. Taking a hit, but still ranked number 5, which is interesting. Trader Joe, I love the guys at Trader Joe. I just like their approach, but unfortunately, in the last 24 hours, they've taken a 76% hit. My question, what I wonder is has Avalanche taken an overall like TVL hit in the last 24 hours? Is something going on over there we're not aware of? They're number 4. No, well, 1 month down, TVL's down, but only 0.29% down. So I'm wondering if something happened with Trader Joe yesterday.
Or it tells me that it's moving to another protocol on chain. There must be another new one that people are shifting assets into.
It's interesting because Trader Joe just launched a brand new version of their protocol. Oh, look at that. They had a 1-day spike. That's why. Look at that.
Oh, got it. Good call.
Yeah,
good pull.
Yeah, that throws it off. That's what threw it off. Otherwise, prior days, that's a growth pattern over the last few days. So, yeah.
Somebody just threw down 40 million. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure you knew I was here.
I'm like, what the fuck? Why would Trader Joe be dumping like that? Right? That's cool. All right. Anyway, I think this is useful data. You can obviously see, look, over time.
Take a look at, scroll down and look at Spooky for a second, if you don't mind. I saw that at a big drop too. Right there at 10.
Spooky. Down 16%, 49% over the month. I think that's probably a symptom of phantom overall, but let's take
I was wondering if it was going somewhere else.
Well, last month they had a couple of spikes,
It's not bad. I mean, it's steady.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's only 8 million in volume over the last 24 hours. So,
So wait, I'm sorry. So we're looking at volume, not TVL.
Yeah, this is volume, not TVL. Yeah, this is DEX trade volume, totally DEX trade volume based. Spirit swap up. So anyway, but look, I mean, we're down here in the Mooney swap at 115,000 in volume, 43,000 in volume, and Soul swap.
Spirit swap. What's Spirit swap's adding?
Yeah, Spirit swap's up 3.5%. Yeah.
Who else is there? Balancer, Osmosis Serum, Sushi. Oh, good. Sushi's recovering.
Yeah, Sushi's seeing some nice growth, actually. Look at that. That's nice. That's good.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, new tool. Thought it might be useful for folks. Frax has launched FraxLend, and it is going to end up being a permissionless lending protocol so that people can create their own lending offerings. So I saw a tweet about it. I don't know if I saved it. Yeah, here it is. Basically saying that now they have the trifecta, the Trinity in-house. So they've got the stablecoin, obviously. They have their own exchange, Frax Swap, and now they have lending and borrowing markets where people can create their own lending and borrowing capabilities on that market. I started listening last night to an interview with Sam and the father of the guy who wrote the first paper on building stablecoins in 2014, and but listening to this interview, he talks about the fact that he has studied in depth every paper and every protocol for every stablecoin and every concept ever created around stablecoins. And he knows this shit off the top of his head, right? And it's just obvious that he is building out all of the pieces for the Frax empire, right? And he doesn't care whether Frax has reached where he wants it to reach ultimately in volume. His goal is a long-term, I want to be on all the chains, I want to be integrated with all the protocols, and I want to have all the primary pieces that allow me to be the dominant player in the space. The interesting thing is now that Curve is launching their own stablecoin, I wonder how that changes his plans or whatever. But completely impressive with the team. I mean, I put their team up there in terms of delivering with the Polygon team. Just constantly making deals, constantly delivering product, constantly changing an upgrade, always willing to consider options, leading in the space. Yeah, just everything they do is pretty amazing. So I'm happy to see them succeed. I've interviewed him twice, and I really like, I like everything that they're doing. So.
Okay,
anyway.
so remind me, Frax is, there's 3 tokens there, right? There's FSX, there's FPI, and there's Frax. FPI
FXS,
is the inflation one.
Yeah.
Frax is the stable.
Yep. And the
FXX
other one's the governance.
Is sort of the governance kind of token. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So I wonder, so their stable is backed partially by real world reserves and partially by the algorithm. So other stables, I guess.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's interesting because that's got some more. I mean, I've been talking about, full real world asset backing of these, but I like, this will help us find what the right ratio is.
Yeah, I don't know what the collateralization ratio is for them. Let me check, because
I would love to know, and I know you know him and you've talked to him, but I'd love to know his thinking around. Okay, the lending and depositing protocols are what seem to be getting everybody in trouble. Okay,
yeah, but his protocol isn't dependent on this lending mechanism. Although he may be planning to incorporate it. I don't know.
Well, what I want is, just because he's so smart and he's read everything and studied every other play, I'd love to know what he's thinking here. As far as
well, I'll get him back on.
That. Yeah,
I'll get him back on. He's always willing to chat about it. Yeah, and I tell you what, of all the founders, I would put he and Scoopy are the most active in there. Like Scoopy on his Discord and Sam on Frax, to the point that there's a bot on Twitter that automatically tweets whenever someone directly asks him a question, and he responds, because he answers like all day long. He's in there answering questions on Telegram. So here, let me move this over. I don't know if this gives us. So this is that stablecoins.wtf site.
Yep.
Frax is considered a hybrid, algo plus backed, and 24-hour volume, 9 million. But look at the difference between them and DAI. I wonder if it's counting all of the chains, because that seems really low. Market cap is 1.4 billion. DAI is 431 million in volume, whereas it's showing Frax at 9 million in volume. Market cap of, this is interesting though, the market cap of DAI is 6.4 billion. The market cap of Frax is 1.4 billion.
What is it of DAI? Sorry, I'm just looking.
6.4 billion.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure about those. I'm wondering if they're counting every chain that it's on, and I don't know. In this.
Okay, I'm looking at Frax on CoinGecko. A full circulating supply, it's fully diluted out, 1.484779,697. So 1.485 billion roughly. Yeah, right. And that's the valuation. And I got 24-hour trading volume of 10 million roughly, 9.9.
Yeah.
On CoinGecko. So
all right. I wish they would show what the backing level is.
They might on the Frax site, because that would be the thing to pay it.
Oh yeah, they've got all those tools on the Frax site. That's right.
Yeah, like what's the best blend? I mean, because it's easy to say, oh yeah, every stable coin needs to be backed by a dollar, let's say in our case, or a physical one. But that doesn't make sense, because finance doesn't work that way. Every US dollar isn't backed by a dollar worth of gold.
Right.
It just isn't. I mean, that's not there. There's not enough. So there's a psychological value that people take into their head. And when that confidence gets shaken, of course, then you have runs on stuff, whether it's currencies or banks or stocks or crypto. So what I'm curious about is, what is that optimal blend? What do you need in hard real world assets that could just be a firm backstop against, going to zero, in a combination of, maybe the algorithmic stable coin concept, maybe that's 30%, and then maybe 20% is like a blend of BTC and ETH. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's 3% is that. But well, I love that we're going to figure it out.
I'll put the link. I'll put the link to that interview I've been listening to. I just haven't finished it. Actually just started it into the show notes. Because from the preamble that I got about it, evidently they went really deep into kind of philosophy, attitude, ideas. Oh, collateral ratio 90.75%. So that's pretty tight. I mean, 18.5% decentralization ratio.
Niblet's always coming in with the hard questions.
Oh, great. Lending, borrowing.
I love it.
Joe, lending, borrowing is where the trouble happens. How does it relate to a credit-based stable like Bean? Oh, he's quoting you saying lending, borrowing is where the trouble happens. And then he's asking us how to, well, I think
have to feel that one. You know Bean better than I do. I
think Bean is a different beast when it comes to the lending borrowing model than the past ones we've seen. So I think there's the risk with Bean is too much debt at this point, I guess, which is many people are saying they already have too much debt and it's just going to take forever to get these paid off. But I think what Joe meant was that the historically we've had a real problem with lending, borrowing based algorithmic stables not being able to sustain it. I frankly think Bean does a better job. Sean said, in my opinion, the only way a crypto-backed stable works is with a ding, 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 ding.
Anticipation. It's like that kind
inverse contract, the OG stablecoin. And I think Sean's building that. Aren't you creating that, Sean? Aren't you going to build that for us? Maybe. Can you do that?
Hopefully, please. Pretty please.
Let us all have a piece. No? Okay,
Pregnant pause. Pregnant pause.
Anyway, so FraxLend is launched. Let me see if there's a link to it here on the website. Maybe it's only an alpha and they're only letting certain people see it. I haven't taken a look at it, but I'll get him on. I'll tell him I need to come here about FraxLend. Oh, yeah. So here's the initial pairs. They did say they had launched wrapped ETH and wrapped BTC pairs. Max leverage is 75%. Currently 530,000 Frax, 515,000 Frax. So about the same. Oracle is Chainlink. The lending APY is 0.107% on ETH and 0% on Bitcoin. Total borrowed 100 Frax on Bitcoin and 227,000 Frax on ETH. Available to borrow 302,000 Frax and available to borrow on BTC 615,000. 515,000. Borrower APR is 0.25%.
Yeah. So look, when I say like lending is where the trouble starts, I probably more should have said trouble started, because I think what happens is when you deposit and borrow, that protocol then has to go find the yield to pay those returns, and if they get that out of whack, then obviously they're underwater. And I think there's been a lot of lessons. This is for Niblets. I think there's a lot of lessons have been learned over the last 3 months, at Celsius, Terra, everything else that are going to come to the point where maybe that's not as much of an issue anymore, because people aren't out of the gate promising, those huge yields on, say, a BTC deposit. Right. It's more like a fiat level yield at this point, a lot of times, if not a little bit less, as we pointed out yesterday. So that's kind of what I meant. I think a lot of that's probably water under the bridge, or it's probably not as relevant now going forward, Niblets. But I was really more interested in what Sam would say about, because he's so smart, what his endpoint analysis was on that. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. Sean says, been there since 2016, 1x short perp. Eamon says it's on there. I think they mean that it exists. You get that?
Me?
Yeah. I'm lost.
I was sort of thinking about the other, my broad spanning, comment that, because lending is like a vital component of DeFi. So I don't mean to imply that that's where the trouble starts everywhere.
Hey,
I just think it brings in a whole new set of considerations.
Hey, Sean, are you available to come on like today, right now? Oh, Eamon was saying that FraxLend is on the website. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Got it up on the screen. Very simple interface. All right. Well, let's see if Sean will come on. If not, we'll move on. Even if he doesn't come on, we're going to move on. I have no idea why I have this loaded up, dude.
That
What
was
should
one of mine
miners
I
do?
sent for you. I wanted you to interpret it for us.
Oh, thanks. You're such a dick.
Now, this is again, this was actually, I was hoping Sean would say something about this, but you know, what are the miners supposed to do?
Yeah. You
They
know,
should go.
So what they should do is go back in time 4 years and have a fucking clue and prep for the fact that proof of stake was coming. That's what the miners should have done. Miners should have taken percentage of their profits, invested in DeFi on Ethereum Classic, built up an ecosystem, built up TVL, built up that coin and that project and that chain, and had a fucking clue. Instead, they all waited. Oh, fuck. Here's proof of stake. Our entire business model's fucked. Just, anyway. Sorry, got no patience for that shit. Okay. Yeah. So what does this tell us they should do, Joe?
Go back to grad school? I don't know, man. It's like
is this RLC? Is that Raven?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I just threw it up there as thought you would know something about it or something.
Oh, thanks. Just throw shit up there and make me look like
I have another one for you that's actually even probably.
Here, now tell me about this chart. What is this chart?
Hold on, I'm on the wrong. I'm on the wrong. That looks like okay, I'm going to say
this one.
70s. Oh, yeah, this is the non-manufacturing PMI data. This is actually pretty interesting. I got to bone up real fast on this. But this is another kind of indicator that, you get a expectation number and then you get a real number. And, this has been tracking. Here we go. This is it. Yeah. So I was trying to find, services. And there was other numbers that came out on services today that were really, really good. But you look at things like, like building permits, Chicago PMI. You see how the trends are all kind of going in the right direction, and that's what I was trying to point out. Just like we talk about inflation kind of going down, you're seeing the same thing here. This is a lot of good data on this site. The ones I was also really looking at this morning were the inflation data. I'll shoot a couple links over to, or you could see it at the top when you go to hold on, where are we?
Currencies?
I think, is it forecast, indicators, markets? No, because I have the inflation rate G20 by country, and let me just shoot you the link.
All right, you know what? Find it, and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Here it comes. Also, I did get a chat from Sean. I think he sent it to me by accident, but it's that picture of a Guinness. He's watching the show on his phone, and he says, "Not so much on the coming right now." Whatever.
Not coming. He can't come on right now.
Yeah. So that's what I figured. Yeah.
So this shit by Gensler cracks me the fuck up, right?
Because
no, this pre-negotiation he's doing, which tells me he knows he's in trouble with this power and control over crypto, because he's smart enough to know you don't come out before the negotiation starts for what you're going to have power over and immediately give something up, right? That should be your fucking bargaining chip. But instead, before it's even like into fucking legislation or anybody's even like, I mean, it's in legislation already, but before it's even like in a committee, he's out there throwing up and saying, yeah, commodities regulators, they can have Bitcoin. Yeah, they can have Bitcoin. It makes sense. They should have Bitcoin. Everything else is mine. And it's like, dude, if you're already giving up, if you're already just like, yeah, let me give you Bitcoin, for me, I think what it means is he's feeling the pressure big time. Legislation's been introduced. It's not moving through Congress yet because we're in the middle of an election year, but the legislation that was introduced is to put all of crypto under the commodities regulators. And so the fact that he's already giving up Bitcoin because he doesn't call it a security and thinks it's not a security and calls it a commodity tells me that he's probably feeling the pressure, and he wants to secure his territory before a decision gets to a vote in Congress, right? So he's trying to set and say, no, they can get Bitcoin, I get everything else. before Congress says, no, you don't get anything. So kind of hoping they ignore the hell out of him, but we'll see what happens.
Well, after that, the Senate legislation that I sent you about, or sent you, I tweeted about it this morning or yesterday from a friend of mine in DC, Stabenow and I guess it's Boozman or whatever out of the Agriculture Committee. Now, it has the chairman's support. Now, if you remember, agriculture oversees commodities. So that's where it seems to make the most sense for where all of these fit as far as from a registration standpoint. Now, of course, SEC will enforce on illegal securities and fraud and stuff like that, but then they're not the ones that are doing all the nitty gritty of defining what crypto is and how we deal with it as an economy. CFTC does much better job at that. Think about what they do with, corn, beef, energy, go down all those commodities. It's a massive part of the economy and they regulate it all. And it seems to work. It's very, very, open market. So I think it makes total sense. And
well, I think
there's a lot of traction behind it. So
I think he also is scared that there may be some broad rulemaking that cuts him out of the pie, right? That keeps that says if X, then commodity, which then makes him scared and nervous that he'll lose the ability to continue on his path of righteous crusading.
Well, the chairman of CFTC, I think his name's Nenham or something like that. He's very, very pro crypto.
Yeah, I know. So, that's why I want Gensler
not
to lose
much
it all.
More so than just teaching one class called, what was it, Blockchain 101.
Yeah.
Which was Gensler. So, but these guys are all just trying to figure it out. And, you got to expect people to make, bureaucratic power grabs. That's what it's all about.
Of course.
But I think that this Senate one kind of, when you combine it with what Loomis is saying, and then the third one, I can't remember who that is. There's a lot of good traction going on there.
Yeah, let's hope so. Niblet says, G says you get everything but BTC. Okay, what about WBTC, right? What about assets borrowed against BTC holdings? WBTC holdings. What about BTC peg stables? Oh, that's beautiful. Right. I mean, he's opening a can of worms because he wants to hold on to power, because that's all that man cares about is power. I mean, that's it. That's why he fired everybody in the SEC and brought in his own people. That's why he's trying to, have a battle and war going on with other regulators. So yeah, I totally agree. And I hope we can watch him squirm. So
yeah, this is when you get everybody fighting or legislating or discussing with each other, different agencies, and carving up that pie. This is what we want.
Exactly.
Because then we'll have clarity.
Exactly.
We'll know what we can do and can't do, and not have, and so entrepreneurial initiative will just explode.
Yep.
Once everybody becomes less fearful at this point.
Totally agree. There was something else you sent for SEC. Oh, what the hell did he say? I haven't even read it.
I scrolled through it. He's talking about Kennedy and the founding of the SEC, Whiskey Joe Kennedy. And then he ties it to crypto. It's okay. I mean, it's just a speech. I think it's always worth reading. It talks a little about Howie in there. And, and my predecessor, Jay Clayton, said it, and I will reiterate it, quote, without prejudging any one token, most crypto tokens are investment contracts under the Howie test. So, he kind of goes through it. So it's a little nice. It's just to know what he's saying, what the SEC is saying. Doesn't mean it's that I agree with it. It just means that everybody should take a look.
Not liking the message isn't the same thing as not receiving it. I mean, look, it's just such bullshit that he wants to continue to claim that they've given clear guidance. They have not. No. And they can't. And it's just total bullshit. But he's responding directly to that piece in the Journal that basically said, no, you haven't.
I've asked SEC to work directly with entrepreneurs to get their tokens registered and regulated where appropriate as securities. A handful have already registered on the existing regime. I wonder if Dragon ICO is one of those.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're registered. Look, if you go in to register, you're saying it's a security. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you have to be able to say, is it utility or security if you're going to register? And, otherwise people aren't going to register.
Of course, nobody's going to register when they are finding and arresting people that come in to register or come in to talk. So.
Yeah. I don't know if it's directly this program or if it's the one we talked about before, where people would just come in and chat. I don't know if this is something new or not, but. And then he says, even right there, the first sentence of the intermediary section, given that many crypto tokens are securities. So many. What does many mean? Does it mean more than 50%?
Yeah.
Does it mean 20%?
Yeah. Now, did you see this?
Some is in a few.
Couple. He said, before I turn to intermediaries, let me briefly discuss so-called stablecoins. Stablecoins have features similar to and potentially competing with money market funds, other securities, and bank deposits, and raise important policy issues. Yet another example of the SEC's explicit guidance on stablecoins. Raise important policy issues. It's important to ensure that we have appropriate safety and soundness protections, investor protections, and safeguards against illicit activity. Basically, what he's saying is, all of my buddies have products that stablecoins compete against, money market funds, securities, bank deposits, etc. So we're not going to let this shit happen if I'm the guy that gets to decide.
Yeah, he's like going after the algorithmic stablecoins in the next paragraph.
Yeah.
Are not fully backed by fiat and bear heightened risk related to whatever mechanism they use purportedly to maintain a stable value. Currently, stablecoins primarily are used as a means to, wait, what was that? To settle, participate in, or as so-called settlement tokens inside our crypto platforms. I think stablecoins are more used, well, I don't know now about TVL levels, but as counterparties in liquidity pools is where I've seen most stablecoins.
Yeah. Look, we need to read through this before we talk about it much more, but as Joseph Kennedy put it, no honest business need fear the SEC.
Yeah,
really?
That's such a good analog. You know, for the non-Americans, and probably many Americans don't know that Joe Kennedy was probably the biggest molasses and alcohol smuggler in the U.S. at one point. And, you know, that was the cartel of the Prohibition era. And, you know, they were mean too. I don't know if they were as mean as the cartels these days, but, you know, there were definitely bodies getting dropped. And, you know, so then when they decided, and there was also a whole bunch of securities, my thing froze, securities type fraud too. So they put him in, founded the SEC and put him in charge because they're like, well, the guy who's been gaming the system forever is the one who knows how to fix the system. So I guess.
Look, here it is.
Sifu, they're going to be hiring at the SEC soon.
Here it is, right here. This is the fear right here. This is, okay, I need to work with everybody because I'm in trouble. But read these. I look forward to working with crypto projects and intermediaries looking to come into compliance with the laws. I also look forward to working with Congress on various legislative initiatives while maintaining the robust authorities we currently have. Let's ensure that we don't inadvertently undermine securities laws underlying the $100 trillion capital markets. In other words, hey, let's not fuck around with everything else. You guys could really screw this up. I'm just letting you know. I'm warning you now. The securities laws have made our capital markets the envy of the world. On all of these projects, I've asked staff to consider using our regulatory toolkit to possibly fine-tune compliance for crypto security tokens and intermediaries. I can't make promises. I can't speak on behalf of my colleagues on the commission. I can only say that true cooperation benefits everybody here. Meaningful engagement is always welcome. He's feeling the pressure. This is the second time he's used conciliatory language, saying he's reconsidering, saying he's willing to talk about compromise. So all of the other tough bullshit talk is just bullshit because he knows he's going to be under pressure. Just what you were talking about, Joe, the legislation, the things that are coming down the pike, people trying to give commodities power over it. He's feeling the pressure.
Well, and I think a lot of these guys, I don't know what the right word is, but I think that I'm going to say insecure, but that's not really the right word. I think they get jealous when other people are getting attention. And they're getting, like the CFTC guy who's getting a lot, he's the more pro-crypto guy.
Insecure is the right word. Insecure.
What's the word?
Insecure is definitely the right word.
All right. And, and you see that come out.
Yep.
But, these hard-charging exec types, they're walking a high wire act all the time. So, kind of can get that way. But look, his next job is going to pay a ton of money somewhere, but all of a sudden he's not the #1 guy that people are going to want to hire. The CFTC guy is who everybody's going to want to hire now. So that's what he's thinking of. And, he is, will always be Goldman in a lot of ways too. So, once you're in, you really don't ever leave in a lot of ways. As far as the sharing, I'm not trying to imply anything. I'm just saying the networking components of it.
Absolutely.
Informational networking.
It's all about making more money on the end, having power, being able to say you put your stamp on history, trying to control and run something, and then making the big money when you leave. BinanceUs is launching basically liquid Ethereum staking ahead of the merge, which I'm excited to see. I was just looking at that. Were we looking at it on the show the other day, or was I talking to somebody else? But they didn't have it prior, so I'm glad to see BinanceUS launching this. 6% APY, staking 0.001 ETH. So
that's US based too.
Yeah, that's BinanceUS.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can go get 6% on ETH in the US.
In a sense, I mean, you can do that now at Rocket Pool. You can do that now at Lido. But if you trust BinanceUS and feel comfortable there, and that's where you do centralized trading, that could be an option for you if you're an American looking to stake and you don't want to deal with DeFi, right? But I would prefer to see you do it on Rocket Pool and Swell and other decentralized staking offerings.
So is that then going to be, when you're staking on BinanceUS, that's going to be like a validator node then for?
I'm sure they're using one of the big validator node companies, but I don't know. Yeah.
Got it.
So I couldn't tell you, sir.
I sent you a couple of links that one is, so you can just click it and get directly to a chart. One is that inflation stuff. I kind of wanted to go through the G20 numbers, and then who's this? NFT Marketplace.
One Planet leaving Terra for Polygon. I think it was one of the largest NFT markets on that chain.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what Terra's gas fees look like.
I'm sure
how that works.
I think they're just bailing on Terra because they don't want to, because it's a cemetery.
Yeah, nobody's coming.
Town. Yeah.
The only thing that's working is token.
You sent me more links, you said?
Oh, yeah. Look at the DeFi lunch channel in Telegram. There was 2 there in particular, the last 2. One was on
the last 2 are the ones we already looked at, SEC and trading economics.
No, but that doesn't have, this is the inflation rate, trading economics. Click that.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so look, this is G20. Yeah. So sort, just click on last, double click. Yeah. Okay. So this would go high to low now. Go back up. Come on, click this high. Okay. So we see G20, Turkey's running 80% inflation rate.
Right.
Okay. What are we running? I think 8.5, something like that.
8.5.
Argentina 71. Russia's at 15. And just scroll down a list gently. Go down the list. And you can see there's the Euro area 9.1. US 8.5, so down from 9.1. Everything's kind of trending down. Now I just bringing this up for a reason. Keep going down. Now look at Switzerland. One more. Switzerland. So I think it's funny because your partner in Material Indicators, Fred.
Yeah.
Who's always the gloom and doom on inflation, and here he is sitting in his Swiss fortress at 3.5%. I'm like, that is funny. All right. And look at the other ones. Japan 2.6. Chinese data, I don't really know but Japan data is good. But you get to see that now the Russian data comes from the Russian central bank too. So this is all coming from central banks. So it is self-reported, but you kind of get a good point. You go, hey, it's not that bad here. And then this is, now that's one. Now just see that top menu, go to the left where it's world. Now go all the way up. Click world. I did. Do the same thing. Do last. Click last. So I could get them ranked. Yeah. All right. Zimbabwe's running 285% inflation rate. Lebanon 168. Venezuela 137. Turkey 80. This, you can go down the list. It just, there's a lot of people in the middle, but most of them are above the US and Europe. I mean, Europe is 9.1, the US is 8.5. So this is not just a first world problem.
Yeah, no, of course not. Yeah.
You know, when stuff is basically tripling in price every year. I mean, I remember reading about in Argentina years ago when they had that really bad crisis 20 years ago. They wouldn't even put prices on anything.
Right.
There would be like a little sticker, and then they would every day they'd draw that, cross out that number, and write a new number.
It's crazy.
And you know, because it was clicking at like 20% a month or something. So, you know, basically running business is near impossible to manage. You know, your inputs versus your outputs. But it's just kind of good to put stuff like this in perspective. And you see like Liechtenstein 2.5, UAE 2.5. I mean, Bolivia 2.0, I was a little surprised about myself. I was like, what?
Look at Macau, 1.38.
Yep.
Aren't they? Well, that's because they're completely shut down because of COVID.
Yeah, I saw some Chinese data. There's like 3,500 different quarantine zones locked down.
Yeah, I think they shut down almost all of Macau because it's, you know, it's the gambling capital.
Yeah.
Benin? Where is that?
That is in Africa.
Oh, negative inflation.
Yeah, that's what you don't
West
want.
Africa.
Yeah. Because that's when all your shit just starts. Your house that was worth 100 now, 95.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's brutal.
So this was interesting. Europol came out saying that actually crypto could be the key to cracking down on crime. That the transparent nature of the chain is actually a benefit. Wow, who's been saying that forever? Everybody that's in crypto has been saying you people are idiots. This is not a haven for crime. This is the place where you catch them. And provide you more evidence to prove the crimes. So glad to see that somebody actually saying it. This was just kind of fascinating. Somebody's bought out. What's the name of the company? I can't remember what they said. Some company. Safe. No. I can't remember the name of it.
Safeguard?
BitZero Blockchain Inc. bought up or did a deal with the state of North Dakota with all of these former nuclear silos. And they're building data centers, but a big chunk of it's going to be Bitcoin mining and other proof of work mining. So just thought this was interesting. These folks this fine couple live right next to the big pyramids, the nuclear warhead pyramids, where they're going to put mining facilities. So
no, at least they're not in like first strike territory anymore.
Exactly.
You know, have a nice retirement. Look, the thing about North Dakota, they got all that fracking money.
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine who was doing some genomic stuff did a deal with an air base up there too. But you can go to the North Dakota Economic Development Board, I believe, and you know they will finance you to move all of your stuff there. So
nice.
There's a lot of activity. Plus, with Bitcoin mining, think about it. It's cold there. It's like right below Canada. Yeah. And it's in the middle of the plains. So, you know, I think Glacier National Park is to the west, and, you know, all the Canadian Rockies and US, it's cold. So those mining rigs are going to run, energy costs are going to be lower.
Yeah, totally.
Because, I mean, I guess I don't know how they're going to power it, but well,
I got to believe if they're smart, they're going to use some of that heat potentially to power something else, especially if it's contained in that.
Also, the output from fracking. There's methane, but there's a few things
using the methane off the gas pumps. Yeah.
So I like that. You know, here's a state that, you know, it's not one that we always think about all the time, but you know, they're on the cutting edge of energy and now crypto, it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's cool. VCs poured $14.2 billion into crypto in the first quarter, but investments are slowing. He said, KPMG said, despite the expected downfall, investment figures remained well positioned in comparison to pre-2021 figures, which highlights the growing maturity of the market. Basically, they're saying this isn't going anywhere and investors are still going to be putting the money in it. Yeah, Doquan.
It's like, what was that one that was always going around with can't the developers do anything? What was that meme that was in like Telegram?
Yeah, no, it was constant because everybody would go into these fucking project groups and go, can't the developers do something about the price? You know,
yeah,
so
the
that's
price,
great.
exactly.
Yeah.
Can't the developers do something about the price?
Yeah,
exactly. We're just gonna market higher. We're doing the Argentina model.
Exactly. It's freaking nuts. Anything else you want to cover today? That's all I got.
I don't think there's anything. I mean, we covered through everything. There was a lot. SEC. Oh, one more thing. One more thing I want you to put up.
That's it.
No. Okay, can I share a screen then?
Because no, it's okay. Just tell me. I'll put it up.
Okay, cool. This is the last one, and I just wanted your. It ties into something that. All right, here we go. It's from physics.org or phys.org.
Yeah, don't ask me. Are you seriously going to ask me to do this math?
Throw it up. I was going to ask you to interpret this for our audience and solve
it. Oh, yeah.
Can you solve that equation for us?
No, I'm going to go. Alexa, drop in on Amanda.
No, look. So
Alexa, hang up.
This is about now they're able to when stuff goes through barriers. So think about when you're holding a glass of water and if a light or a prism. Remember those prisms we had as kids when light would go through and it would form that rainbow of the different light spectrum wavelengths and you would see it. So when stuff goes through a barrier like glass, the physics thing is angle of refraction equals angle of reflection. So like if it's coming in this and it's bouncing off, it's always the same angle. But when it goes through a permeable surface, the angle changes somewhat. It tends to equal it, but in the opposite way. So it deflects it. So when you're delivering drugs into cells and things like that, or nanoparticles into something, how it goes to those membranes means something. But don't forget too, air is a membrane, okay, in a lot of ways. So what this is really getting to, I think, is, chaos theory and the fractal stuff. It's getting to where they're going to be able to predict the motion of the particles, which, I mean, this is pretty deep, and I might be stretching this out a little.
Actually, I read something about this the other day. Now that you're talking through it.
So when we look at that chart at the top, I mean, it's almost like Fibonacci bands are almost like permeable layers in a way. If you look at data in the same way, data as a point, let's say. All right, data moves, charts. I mean, scroll up for a second and look at that thing with the dots on it. I mean, doesn't that almost look like a regression line with stock performance on the outside of it? So, I talk about how, to me, I think that there's some universal constant that relates to particles and, that everything always kind of reverts to the mean over time, no matter what. So if you go make a bad decision, I mean, just a life decision, that it might have been the wrong decision at that moment, but it always kind of comes back to the mean line. Like you always will come back and enter that mean line, maybe 10 years down the road or 3 or whatever, but it always reverts. And so it's almost like, we talk about positive energy and visualizing things and then they happen. To me, this kind of is getting to that concept of this universal constant. So I guess what I'm getting at is that this might create some tools for financial analysis, or let's say picking on price behavior going forward. If you treat price as a measurement of data, just like you look at this as, a measurement of a particle. I hope I didn't lose everybody too much, but the point is, take a look at it, because to me, this is, of course I can't do the equation either, but I mean, I might be able to if I sat and looked at it, but a lot of those, those types of formulas, it's too hard for me to unpack, years after I took the class. But, something for everybody to look at when you start, like, cause I was thinking of you and I was thinking of material indicators and I was thinking about the real-time alerts. And I started thinking, man, this is like, we're getting to that kind of universal formula constants or behavioral constants or experiential constants that are what are going to kind of, in a lot of ways, this is also what's going to fill the metaverse, the experiential stuff. So math, again, does it matter? I'm going to say yes. Do we all understand it? No. Is it a language? Yes. Is it a philosophy? Yes. To me, it's all those things, because if you think about that, then you start thinking that, you're going to get where you're going to get no matter what.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
And it's better just to chill and execute versus chase. Sort of a philosophical thing. But I'm throwing a lot out here that people need to maybe twist a fatty up and re-listen to what I said. But the point is, it's pretty thought-provoking.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right. On that note, and you didn't lose the whole audience, so that's good.
Oh wow, they're still here. Wow, excellent.
Yeah,
cool.
That's awesome.
But I just think when you mystical stuff, religious stuff, spiritual stuff, believing in things, positive thinking, whatever, all of that is a faith kind of thing.
Yep.
And I think and since we're all just subatomic particles swirling around in a blender called the universe, I kind of think there's something here that is that universal thing. And I invite everybody. I'd love to talk about it later with more of the philosophers listening or watching us. But
here's my tweet. Here's my tweet from this morning.
I saw that. I see a lot of people doing that now, and I kind of like it because it sort of makes you think about other things other than work stuff.
And look, trading's a mental game, and it's just. Oh, and I thought this tweet yesterday. We won't get into it, but anyway, yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. I'm glad we're having that chat. It's good.
Euphoric. Oh no, you gotta see euphoric, man.
What'd he say? Batty in hand, and I'm still lost. Good for you. Helps when the TA itself influences the behavior that the TA pour. I think that happens more than not. Absolutely, dude.
Yeah, when I was in grad school, I thought a lot about that because we called it herd behavior. And it's kind of one of my underlying fundamentals is, you get there first before the herd shows up. And so what does the herd do? The herd drives price up. So anybody who talks about everything's a Ponzi scam, well, everything relates to all of it money coming in. So
absolutely,
you can't, and it does almost become self-fulfilling behavior.
Yeah.
When everybody sees that metric move, then everybody reacts the same way to it.
Yep.
So it's like when we look at liquidation clusters, what's going to happen when the price hits there. It's like, so all of a sudden people start expecting behavior, then all of a sudden people start going contrarian to expected behavior.
Yep.
And that's when things get pretty interesting because especially if you're trading, I mean, to me, the hardest thing to do in trading is holding up instruments or up stocks or up tokens, when you're up 500%. And it's like, what do I do now? That's the hardest thing to me because, underlying me is that fear of everything vaporizing and going to zero. So that's why I always try to put those fundamentals in about selling slices on the way up. But it's tough, and it's more of a young person's game too, because you guys can stomach it better because you don't know how bad it can get.
Yeah, actually, though, I almost disagree with that because they're too emotional. Really? Yeah, I think that they're. Yeah. I think it's both. I think it is a younger person's game because of the stress and complexity and craziness of it, but at the same time, and the multitasking necessity of it, right? But at the same time, I think they have a tendency to get more emotional. I mean, look at somebody like Sean, right? I mean, his years of wisdom experience. He probably doesn't want to try to keep up with somebody in their early 20s, but he also has wisdom experience that keeps him from losing his shit, right? And ultimately, fear and greed and emotional reactions are what cause you to lose money. So
anyway. Well, we talked about it last year when we were doing a lot of that, and it was almost like I got to the point where I was just going the opposite of what I wanted to do.
Right.
So wherever way the fear was driving me, I went the opposite every time.
Exactly.
And it tends to work better. It does work better.
Totally. Yeah.
That's the lesson. I think what your point, Brad, is that the older you get, the more you learn to control those emotions.
Exactly.
And still maintain rational thought processes. And that is the hardest part. Because think about it, panic and greed.
Yeah.
I mean, they both fit right into the core trilemma of human existence.
That's right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Niblets, Euphorix, Sean, Eamon, everybody for listening, participating today. We love you and appreciate you. Please, if you get a chance, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Subscribe and click the little bell on YouTube. Tell your friends and family about us. We have a lot of fun. We'd love to have more of you having fun with us and participating in the discussion. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, or feedback, you can message me, B05Crypto, B05Crypto. That's on Twitter and Telegram, B05Crypto, #2143, #2143 on Discord. That's all I got today, Joe. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Everybody go follow Joe on Twitter, please.
Yeah, Pathfinder 305, Twitter, Telegram, and LinkedIn now. So I'm doing a unified thing.
Consistent brand. I like it. I like it. All right,
so
buddy.
Next is Discord, everybody. So get ready to see me show up and get in there after a couple of months.
Have a great day.